So, 5 symptoms I didn't realise were the menopause. The first one I suffered was acid reflux in 2021. So I started off with sore throats, waking up in the middle of the night, having to clear my throat. I even took a piece of bread to bed with me, left it at the side of my bed, so that if I woke up with this like clearing of the throat, I could swallow a lump of bread to push it down and some water to drink. And this just started to get worse and worse. And then I was waking up with a sore throat. Of course, you get really frightened and you think it's something really bad. And I was also scared of going to the doctors because I didn't want to know what they were going to say to me. So I don't know whether you've suffered with that. But I eventually plucked up the courage to have a scope down the throat, which, by the way, if that's recommended for you, there's nothing to be scared of. Just make sure you have the anaesthetic, the general anaesthetic, so they completely knock you out. And then they put this camera down your throat and you're fast asleep. You don't even know anything. And when you wake up, you're like, have you done it? I actually asked the nurses, did you do it? Did you do it? Yeah, we've finished, So definitely have the anaesthetic if you're going to have a scope down the throat. In any case, it was all fine. I just had really inflamed esophagus caused by acid reflux. So then they put me on omeprazole, which I started to get side effects with, so they changed it to pantoprazole, and that was a lot better. But as I was on these drugs and it wasn't getting any better, the doctors kept saying, well, just up your dose. So you just do as your doctor tells you, and I kept increasing the dose. But I still wasn't feeling 100%, and anxiety kicks in because you're worrying, why is this happening? Is it something more serious? So eventually I did some research and I realised that these drugs I were taking were actually quite damaging and dangerous if you have them long term. So I made the decision, right, Jill, sort yourself out, wean yourself off these drugs, because I don't want to be reliant on them and they're not really doing any good anyway. And I need to find a different way of coping with my acid. So I did my research. I weaned myself off the pantoprazole. I slowly decreased the dose and eventually I stopped taking it. But in the meantime, as that was happening, I changed my diet. So I reduced my spice intake because I do quite like spicy food. And I was eating spicy crisps, which is so bad for your throat, especially if you're eating things in the evening, because that's when the acid starts to burn up from the stomach up to the esophagus into the mouth. So I cut out spice. I reduced I even stopped drinking for about a year. I reduced the alcohol first, and then I thought, I don't actually need this. So I stopped completely. And what a difference that made. So there's a lot of acid in alcohol, especially wine and spirits. So if you get rid of that and reduce the spice and just try and eat a really healthy diet as much as you can. Obviously, you're going to have treats, that's fine, but just try and be a bit more mindful of what you eat. But those are the two main things. Reduce your spice, reduce your alcohol, or get rid of it altogether. And what I also did to help me, I bought big bottles off Amazon of Gaviscon Advance, and I had it after a meal and before bed. And that really helped as well, especially the one before bed, because it neutralizes the acid in the stomach and then it doesn't come up the throat. So that really helped me, guys. So that is some information about acid reflux if you've got that. and I found out it is one of the symptoms of menopause. So next, I'm going to just talk about, I have suffered also from frozen shoulder. And I bet there's lots of you out there that have had problems with the shoulders and frozen shoulders. So what started for me, it started in one shoulder. I noticed that I was really struggling with the movement, and it got to the point where I couldn't even reach to fasten bra straps. I couldn't wash my hair properly because I only had a certain amount of movement in this arm and it locked, and that's what you call a frozen shoulder. Again, guess what? It's menopause. So, to cut a long story short, I decided to go to my GP, get it checked out, and they ended up telling me to go to physiotherapy. So I did physiotherapy for about 3 months, and it was a little bit better, but not much. So you do all these exercises, they give you stretchy bands and you do exercises. And they say it does take a long time, so you have to persevere and make sure you do these exercises about 3 or 4 times a day. But I wasn't seeing or feeling that much better. So I said, okay, I've got to have something better to help. This just isn't working. And then I decided to go for a hydrodilatation. So that is an injection of sterile fluid and steroid into the joint of your shoulder. And they do this, they numb it so you don't feel anything, and they do it under an x-ray so they can see where the joint is all, I think it's like capsulized. So it kind of has got a fluid there. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me on this, but I think basically it frees up the joint so that you've got mobility again. And so I had that done, and oh my goodness, the results were pretty much instant. The next day, I had so much more mobility in my shoulder. It was phenomenal. I just couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So it's 100% worth having. I think it's called a hydrodilatation. So definitely have it if you're suffering, because you shouldn't suffer with pains in the shoulders. And especially if it's got that bad that you can't even move to do everyday things, everyday life. So definitely get that. I highly recommend it. And a few months later, because I'd been overcompensating using this arm, because when this one wasn't working, I was overcompensating and doing everything with this arm. And of course, what happens, it's very, very common, you end up with frozen shoulder in the other shoulder because you've started to overuse this one. So about 3 months later, I booked in again and I got the other one done. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. They don't always work as well as each other. And I'm going to be honest, this one is 100% cure. This one, I'd say it's 90%. So this one didn't work as well. But it's not bad enough to go and get another injection. It's not that bad. But in the future, if it gets worse, yeah, I'll get another injection because I thought it was amazing. So what I do just to help with my joints is a little bit of weight training, a little bit of, I've got some dumbbells and I do some stretches first to warm your body up, warm your joints up and your muscles. And then I do weights because you lose so much density. And I bet you all know this, but I'm just going to put it out there, my experience. You lose so much density. I mean, I was shocked how much joint pain I've got from when I started the menopause. I mean, even perimenopause. So I've my menopause journey has probably been about 5 years. So I'll be 55 this year. So I think mine started about 50. And oh my goodness, over the 5 years, My joints has been one of the worst symptoms, and that's why I suffered from 2 frozen shoulders. But don't suffer. Get these things done. They're available. Ask and find out and book yourself, because it's so worth it. Like I say, this one's not 100%, and I have to do my weights to, I mean, I don't do a lot. I don't love exercise. I do about 10 minutes a day of a little bit of weight training, a little bit of dumbbells. And for my hips and my knees, I make sure I do a few squats a day, just a few. If you just do a little bit every day and keep up your walking, I think walking is really important. I walk about 3 times a day. I like a short walk, but I do it regularly. You know, if you feel like you've sat on the sofa for a long time, get up and go for a walk. You know, even if it's raining, cold, windy, just put your coat on, wrap up and go. Just go for that 20-minute walk. Oh my goodness, it's so good for your joints. It's so good for your mental health. And it'll really help pumping the blood around your body. It'll just make you feel so much better. Even though it's horrible outside and you think, why am I doing this? When you get back and get a nice cup of tea and sit back down again, you'll think, oh my God, I'm so glad I did that. I feel amazing. So yeah, at the moment, I've just talked about 2 of the symptoms that I've had. My acid reflux and my frozen shoulder. So I'm going to leave it there because you're probably getting a bit bored now. But I've got other symptoms that I've had. So my next video, I'm going to cover palpitations, which I'm still getting, by the way. And yes, they're a menopause symptom. Mood swings, feeling like you are up and down. One minute you're like really excited about something, you're really happy, you're on a high. Next minute you spiral and you feel like you don't know why. You just want to cry, or you just want to snap at someone. And that's, you know, it's all your hormones, I'm afraid. But I'm going to talk about that. And then also, I'm going to talk about things that have helped me. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I've not bored you. I mean, this is new to me, so I'm learning, and I'm sure I'll get better at these videos. And if you do like it and you don't want to miss any other discussions, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. Oh, and comment if you've got anything you want me to talk about or ask me. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.